Okay. First of all, ambush. Ambush is what kind of using that for a Jewish man. It's a very Jewish name. It's Rosh Tevos, Aleph Mem Beis Shin is Ani Mamin Bemuna Shalema. So that's ambush. So I don't know if you ever heard that, but that's where it comes from. So the story I remember, they always told me, is that when back in Europe, when people were taking names, they said you must have a last name. So they put some people up. You're Schwartz over there. You're Weiss over here. You're Gross. You're Klein, or the name of the town. So they say you're going to make us have a name. Ambush. All right. So now you know where the name comes from. I really want you guys to appreciate. First of all, I appreciate you that you came out, and the fact that you're here. You should appreciate yourselves. This is something that a lot of kids your age just Thursday night I could go home and stay home and do something else. Maybe somebody made you come here. Good. You thank them. That's a very good thing. And I thank Rabbi Bookson and Rabbi Krieger also for helping out. This is really a wonderful thing that you guys are doing. I will tell you that I'm going to speak about something. Well, first of all, on Mishpatim, and also something that I'm hoping that you guys will hear more of. But if not, at least you heard it here a little bit. First, we'll start with Mishpatim. There's a question that maybe you haven't asked. The first part of Mishpatim talks about Avodah, and Eved. To have an Eved. Now, we're in America. In America, we're taught slavery is an awful thing. We had a whole civil war, fight for the rights of slaves. So slavery is bad. If slavery is bad, how come the Torah talks about like a good thing? It's not a great thing. They didn't say you must have a slave, but it gives you an outline how to have a slave. Why does the Torah even talk about the rules of having a slave? And when if a person a person should let himself become a slave depending on the situation, try to get out of it. It talks about all the mitzvahs. But why? Slavery is so bad, just say don't have slaves. Right? Isn't that the question? So, anybody have an answer to that, by the way? Answer? Anybody? Why is the Torah just not say no slaves? Slavery is bad. Listen, ask anybody on the street where you live if slavery is a good thing, and they'll tell you no. Yeah.
In those days, is it normal?
A lot of things were done in those days. I think there's a different answer. It's not up to the Goyim to tell us what's good and what's bad. The Torah tells us what's good and what's bad. The non-Jews have their Torah, their civil wars. We don't need a civil. The Torah tells us what's right and what's wrong. How to do it, why to do it, Darchel Darchinoah. Exactly the rules. Why? Take a look at the Sefer Chinuch. Why it says the whole. I'm not going to get into it now. It's a short time, but look it up. There's a reason for it. The Torah tells us what's right and what's wrong. It's not up to anybody else to tell us. So if you have this idea, but we're influenced them. They tell us all these things. And this is an example of how you have to be very careful. There are a lot of things that people tell us what's good and bad. But that's not who we listen to. So that's a very important thing. And I'll show you a couple other ideas like this as we go through, where you might not even think that where your prejudices are coming from. One of the things I like to talk about, you guys are a little preteen, and some of you are teenagers, some of you right around there, but I call Hilchas teenager. There are certain things that teenagers should know that they somehow skip. They don't reinforce it maybe as much, or they give a shmuz about it here and there, but if people realize there are halachos involved, it's a little different. Anytime you learn the halachos of something, it's more impactful than just hearing a shmuz about it. The Prophet talks about it by Lashon Hara. Because one of the reasons you have to learn the halachos of Lashon Hara is because otherwise you just think it's a midah. You think it's a nice thing or not, to be careful about Lashon Hara. You're not meant to speak Lashon Hara, but to know each and every halacha and know exactly how bad it is, that makes a big difference. You can't just go through some of the teenage lives, some of the aspects there, and just think, all right, I'll behave, I'll do this, I'll do that. You have to know the halachos. Now, I can't get into all the halachos. I'm not going to tell you of all the areas necessarily, but I'll tell you a few. One thing is Kibud Av VEm. Kibud Av VEm, there are halachos. Now, you take a look in your Shulchan Aruch and you look, open up a Kitzur in English, and you'll see the halachos. And it's much different than saying somebody telling you that's not a nice way to treat your parents. The idea of what to do when your parents tell you something, how to react, how to talk to them. The idea of how many guys actually stand up when your parents come in the room. I'm not even going to ask you to tell me that. And these are halachos. There's the things that are there that you appreciate. You go home. I don't know who's fortunate to have both parents, who's not. I try to be careful with these things. When I teach, I sometimes just say, whoever's going to put up with you at home. I try to make sure at the beginning of the year to find out if there's a Yosem in the class, because you have to treat them differently. But if you have somebody taking care of you, clothes, how many of you guys know how to write? That didn't just happen. Somebody paid for you to go to school. You can make a list of millions of different things that you have to thank your parents for. And if you appreciate them, and you have to understand one thing, they're not stupid. So, if they say something to you, you have to understand, hopefully they mean for the best, and they might know what they're actually talking about. Sometimes, by the time you're 20-something, you might say, these people weren't as dumb as I thought. When they asked me to do certain things that they said were good for me, they actually were. So you have to understand their halachos about how to deal with it. I'll give you one example. It's about an older boy. But he had a taina on his parents. He wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael to learn. And they had a certain reason why they didn't think it was a good idea for him. So, this guy went all over to all the Rabbanim and said, these people are not good. They're not this, they're not that. And he made a big fuss. And he got some support. And I spoke to the kid later. I said, don't you understand? You didn't have to make a fight between you and your parents. There's a halacha. Look it up. You don't have to tell people that your parents are no good. It says, Godol Talmud Torah Kibud Av VEm. It's a clear halacha in the Shulchan Aruch. Learning Torah is more important than Kibud Av VEm. But if you're going to use the halacha to justify what you're going to do to separate from, say, my parents, listen, I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I think I should go and do this, then you cannot ignore the rest of the halachas of Kibud Av VEm. You have to do it with respect, and there's a way to do it. And I approached one of the Rabbanim and he said, Taka, maybe we should have done it that way. Instead of saying, they're right, they're wrong. You don't have to go about doing things like that, making a fight. Sometimes you could just solve things with a simple shayla you know how to do with the halacha. That's just in Kibud Av VEm. There's tons of other halachas that you could go through. And if you approach things properly, and you know what you're doing, you'll avoid a lot of strife, a lot of commotion, and you'll do the right thing. Let me just give you one other example for right now. Chutzpah. But not just with your parents. This is something English teachers. Why should you have cover for English teachers? Why should we not? I teach English sometimes, so I have a little Rahmanas on them. And I can tell you what happens. I've had kids tell me, come on, straight to my face, we don't have to have cover for you. I'll tell you why. Number one, English is stupid. Right? And number two, you're not teaching me Torah anyway. And number three, who are you? If you were here, if you were anything really in your life, you wouldn't be here teaching English. That's basically what it boils down to. And you have to understand that, let's say English is, I'm not going to argue with you about the fundamentals, the reasons why you have to know English. There are certain reasons why. Even as a credential, as a Hechi Timsa, to be able to go out and make a living somehow, some way, is important. I can't tell you, they used to tell me this is a great one. You have to know math, because you will have to know it in case you come to a Gemara in math. You ever heard this one? Everybody ever tell you this? And if the Gemara has math in it, in order for you to learn it, you have to know the math. So I said, that's very good. I'll treat this math Gemara the same way you tell me to treat the Dikduk Rashi. You always tell me to skip it. I'll learn an astrology. I'll skip it. So I didn't like hearing answers like that. Because, but the point is, if it's true, you have to do it. But if they teach you to skip the Gemara anyway, so first your kids blow it off. The reason you have to know it, true, you should do. I'm not telling you not to learn it for the Gemara. Of course you have to do that. What I'm saying is, you should learn it because, number one, it's like I said, a credential. And number two, you don't know what you're going to do with your life yet, I don't think. And maybe you will need the math. You don't know. Any of these things that they teach you, you have no idea. How old are you? 12, 10, 11, 13? You already have it all figured out that you know for a fact you will not need math. Okay, if you're that smart, I'm really appreciating that. That's very clever. But not everybody can tell me now that 20 years from now they're not going to need the math. I have no idea. So you have to learn it. And the other reason you have to learn it is stop. Even if you don't want to learn it, just have some derech erets for the guy up there who's pulling his kishkas out, trying to teach you. They tell you treat the guy behind the counter at 7-Eleven with more covered than you treat your English teacher. Have a little rahmanas on the guy. He's got a life. He's got people at home, and you torture the poor man. And why is that? Now, and beyond the fact that I'm going to tell you that very often it's a massive chilul Hashem. And everything, because the people, I've heard people tell me, the Yeshiva teach English in Yeshiva, they go on, what is that? You can't, people should talk about Yeshiva guys that learn Gemara. You teach, hey, how do you do it? What do you mean, how do I do it? They're Yeshiva boys. Of course they have good rahmanas. Of course they have derech eretz. They know what they're doing. They're good kids. And they are. But that's the thing. I believe that you are. The only thing is you have to understand that this is not something that is just to be able to say whatever you want. And the problem is this. This is very important. This is also part of what I'm talking about Hilchos teenager a little bit. You have to take care of yourself. You have to know that it's not always easy to spend the whole day. By 3 o'clock, and you're sitting there breaking your head on the math and equations and algebra and all this stuff, and then he says to write something, keep in mind the importance of conjugations of verbs and all this stuff, and I don't know, American history, I don't know what. You're tired. And you have all of this, and you can barely help up for Gemara, and now you who knows, by this time, you're not feeling well, you got sugar all over the place, so it's not easy. So you have to understand, if you cannot, for whatever reason, concentrate, if you have a problem learning in any area, then you have to ask yourself, I'll tell you what, I'll go like this. When I teach, and a parent asks me about a kid, and says, why, how's he doing? And I want to say, your kid's got ADHD. That's what's going on. Your kid's driving me crazy. He's got something wrong with him. Fix your kid. I don't do that. Because I don't diagnose. And I might be wrong. And who knows what's going on with his life. So the only thing I ever say is that he's not acting like other kids. The truth is sometimes he is. But I want to say this, that he's not acting like other kids. This is not like everybody else. And so do what you want with that information, but that's my assessment. It's different. If you see that for some reason you cannot achieve look at that. That you can't achieve like everybody else, so then find out why. Do things about it. Now, we're back to ADHD. I'm not asking everybody here who's got ADHD. I never do that. But I'll give you an example. ADHD back in the old days, everybody made fun of it. When I was a kid, they didn't even hear the word ADHD yet. Nobody ever thought of it. What they thought of, you're hyper, you eat too much this, you're chutzpah, that's it, and sit down. Sort of a little bit in my 20s, I started hearing people talk about ADHD. And nowadays, what do you mean? Of course there's ADHD. And they have all pills for it and the whole thing. I'm not saying you should take any, I'm not telling you, I'm not diagnosing. The point is now they're coming up with new things, all kinds of syndromes. Some of it's who knows what, and some of them might be real. Whatever it is, if you see, not now, but now your parents are taking care of you, maybe when you're 15, 16, 17. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying to be aware that if you see you're not able to do things the way you want, talk to your parents. They love you. They'll help you. But make sure, sometimes there's a disconnect. But don't let, this is one thing, don't let anybody ever tell you that you're not succeeding because you're not trying hard enough, or you're this or that. If you want to succeed and you're trying very hard, nobody can tell you how hard you're trying. You're trying. If you're trying and you can't do it, then make sure that you have all the tools needed for you. Just like you have to go to sleep at night when your parents tell you, maybe that's a good idea. So maybe there are other things that you can do to help yourself. Now, the other thing I was going to talk about briefly, in terms of halachas, a lot of things that we do, I'll tell you, is a lot of things come up with peer pressure. And the kids do, you're getting into that age, kiddush, for example. Kiddush is very nice. And there's schnapps on the table. You probably know what I'm talking about. I can see you smiling at me. So I'm not too far-fetched here. See, I see some guys. I got it. The thing is, it's nice, but there's a limit. You have to know. Maybe you shouldn't be doing it at all your age. I'm not saying. I'm telling you that whatever you do, you have to make sure that it's not. You don't do things that are not right. What's not right? You talk to your parents. I'm not telling you what's good and what's wrong, what's good and bad. But don't do things that are upsetting. Even to eat at a kiddush. Forget about the other things, like what you're thinking. What about the food? You come home, your mother cooked for you. And you are stuffed because you fresh too much. That's also Kibud Av VEm. That's also not right. Who says that's a good thing? So these are all areas that you probably will not hear for 2 minutes. Okay, I'll wrap it up. Now, the other thing is this. I want to talk about making fun of other people, briefly. This is something that's also not just in Musar, but it's also halacha. There's many halachas. Just like in Lashon Hara, you go through a Chofetz Chaim and tell you all different types of halachas that you're over this over and that over. If you embarrass somebody and make fun of them with your Lashon Hara. Without the Lashon Hara, these are still embarrassed. Lo sono is a lo sasa in the Torah to not upset other people. Yeah, by the way, that goes with English teachers too. You're not allowed to be mean to people. And if you make fun of somebody for things especially that they can't control, it's very bad. Especially if it's something that they're doing right and you don't like it. Because it makes you have this one of these things you want to make fun of. He's a frumy, he's a this, he's a that. Any of those comments are absolutely forbidden to say. You can't say something like that. And it hurts people, because one of the things, if you take a look in Shari Yeshiva. If you're not able to read it yet, ask somebody to look with you in Shar Shlishi. Like I wrote this Kuf Ayin Hey. You talk about Leitzonis, and you talk about making fun of people. One of the things that is very bad, you make fun of people for doing a good thing, and makes other people want to stop doing the good thing. So listen, there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to cover. We're not going to do it all now. I want you to know that you have the whole teenage years ahead of you. Think about some of these things and you'll see. I really appreciate you all coming. I really think that it's a great thing that you did. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Rabbi. Don't give up.